What's up, world? It's Coach Manta again. This is our first workout of week number 6. This week is typically a week where we have our major competition, and this week would be our Henley Holmes invite, which would be at the end of the week on Thursday and Friday. This week's competition is probably one of the most important competitions we have in our schedule. One of the reasons why is it's our big home meet. It's also the part of the year where finally temperatures and conditions have gotten good enough to where we can finally put together a full roster and know entirely what our athletes can and cannot do. For us, typically, this is a week we also do as a down week in terms of total volume. Now, there's a catch to that. Again, just like we talked about before, is that Monday is still going to be a pretty tough day because for most of our athletes, they're not going to be competing in both days of the Henley Holmes. The first day of the Henley Holmes meet is on a Thursday, and that's prelims and about half the field events. So a lot of our athletes won't be in those unless they're in a sprint race or one of the special relays that we run or one of the field events. So the chances of them being loaded up on Thursday is slim. And then Friday is much more of a heavy day, but then they also get Saturday and Sunday completely off without any training of any kind. Additionally, Wednesday, our active recovery day before we do our Henley Holmes, is also a really, really light training session. Now, you'll notice that week 6 here on my schedule has a different meet. And the reason why is this is a rollback year where we roll back some of our competitions and meets and schedules like that to a different setup. So that's why you see the Herculaneum meet, which was last year, and our last year's schedule. This year, we've got that meat rolled back. Now, one of the things I want to highlight for you guys here when we're talking about what we're doing is our warm up. So, this warm up is tied into our workout that we're going to do with the majority of our sprinters or our hurdlers or our distance kids. And so, with this is a lot to kind of have an athlete figure out. So, it's sprinting, jogging, walking, and it kind of repeats some of that stuff. And what we're trying to do is we're trying to prime the athletes for the type of workout that they're going to do on a special endurance day. So, what I usually do with this, because there's no way they can memorize it, and we do not have enough coaches to split it up, is I will print out about 10 cards or pieces of paper with this on it. And then we kind of divide it up based on the talent level and the event groups of the different athletes. And we'll have them do this in their little pods together and they'll work through this progress. Okay. And again, you've got, jog at the beginning, then some sprints, jog, sprint, walk. And so it breaks it all down. This is a really, really good warm up. It adds a little bit of volume in a sneaky way. Again, with our throwers, we would do half of this and not, the whole thing because they don't need to be out there. Also, we're moving into a different phase with our drills. So this is what we call our Nirvana phase. And the reason why we call it our Nirvana phase is because it's asking a lot technically. You'll see that we're dividing up our work into different groups. So we've got high knees transitioning into butt kicks with a mini burst. We have an A skip, B skip complex. We have zombie runs, up, out, and through, straight leg bounce, straight leg with a single leg. And then we do like a combination of a single quick, double quick, and triple quick. And then we do fast feed into an A run. So what we've done is we've taken exercises and workouts that we've already been doing for our drills at the beginning of practice, and we're blending them together so that they become more complex, neurologically a little bit more challenging for the athlete, and they've got to do something with it. But it's not so challenging that they'll get delayed onset of muscle soreness or that they'll be worn out or sore because of the activity being so much different than something they have done before. Every one of these exercises they've seen maybe on their own or separate from another drill, but they've seen it already. So none of this is going to be super grandiose or new, but it's just combining skill sets into a more complex package to force the athlete to deal with these things neurologically and to continue to force them to be better. These are great drills. I really like it. And the kids really enjoy starting to do this stuff too. This is they actually look forward to these drills. Now for our workout, as we've talked about before, if you're at home, all we're asking you to do is to run for this amount of time based on your PRs. Okay. And we look at the 600 rep and we're like, holy cow, that's a long rep. So typically what I do is I give the kids options. So we'll do either two 450s and 300 and three 200s, or we'll do this workout. And basically it's a democratic vote. Whatever gets the most vote is the workout we go with. I think it's important as you move through the season to give your athletes just ideas in terms of what they want to do and allow them some power in terms of the choice of the workouts that they're doing. So that way they can, you know, have some sort of stake in what the training's going to be. Now, trickily enough, if you notice this, these distances are the same if you combined all the reps. So that way you're really not losing anything in terms of your volume of work of what you're trying to get done. Now, in the more recent world of track and field, especially for high school athletes, this would be considered a very, very high volume workout. Again, this is a workout that if I was to do it, I'd probably have my long sprinters and my sprinters working together. This is where we've talked about when we build a culture out of nothing. I talk about this being my Baylor group, where I'll take the fastest distance kids and the fastest sprinters and we'll train them together. This is a type of workout that does really well for that. If you don't feel comfortable doing that, then you just move down here and you do this workout. And again, the recoveries need to be vast and large in between the reps. So that way the athletes can completely recover and give you the effort that's expected. And again, these efforts are broken down based off of their PRs. Now, another thing we'll typically do is we'll do this plyometric phase or workout before we actually do this. So we'll do our endurance warm up, we'll do our drills. Then between these two things, we'll have our team huddle. Then we might do a primer for a plyometric activity. And then we come over here and do our meat and potatoes part of our workout. Now, as you move through this, you'll notice for our distance kiddos down here, we've got repeat miles. Again, for our athletes who are training at home because of the stay at home order. This is something you can do on a treadmill. This is something you can do on a bike, an elliptical. Again, if you're on a bike or if you're on an elliptical, you're looking at about 20% more volume that you're going to need to do to make up for the lack of overcoming gravity. If you're on a treadmill, obviously it's only 10% difference. So this can get done. You can, again, do these efforts on the streets, on a sidewalk, on a run, and all you have to do is have a stopwatch on your phone or on your wrist, and it's really easy to do. Down here, we've got our long hurdle rhythm, okay, for our 100-meter hurdlers, in our varsity group, and we have our rookie group as well. And basically, the only difference here between our varsity group and our rookie group is the amount of volume that they're doing. Remember, when you have rookies, typically you're going to remove a repetition from them in this group. So your varsity kids might do this, but then rookies would do one less 200. Same thing for this workout. Down here, we've already got it broken down. You've got your longest group. And again, this is considered one of the toughest workouts of the year for all of these athletes. And you're like, but Banta, you told me that this is an unloading week. And you're right, it is typically an unloading week, but you have Thursday and Friday off. So that way, that's where you get that volume cut down. And you also have Saturday and Sunday off. But again, this would be a Henley Holmes week in this season, which isn't the case from our last year's training plan, as I showed you previously. In terms of our workouts for our jumpers, again, we're doing a lot more reps of double doubles, rights and lefts, lefts, rights, right, lefts, your triple jumps, all that kind of stuff. We're also going to have some short sprints based on that, and we're going to have some high hurdle hops as well, where we're going to try to jump as high as we can over the barriers. And this is Stefan Holm's style, which is the famous Swedish high jumper. So if you wanted to look up Stefan Holm's training, it's not too hard to find, pretty quick and easy to get to. Then with our 300-meter hurdlers, we're going to mess with them and change up their rhythm, where we're going to do 270 meters where they have to switch feet. And then we come down here and do 170. Now with this cone attack, what this is done here, how we're training this, is we're going to put a cone 10 meters away from the front of the hurdle and 10 meters off the back of the hurdle. And so what we want them to do is run really fast to the hurdle and off of it. And then in between those cone zones over each hurdle, then we just want them to run a nice smooth rhythm. So these are very fast and very hard. where this is more about just building rhythm to the hurdle and then off the hurdle and then cruising in between. So you've got 20 meters where you're attacking over the hurdles that you've got in this distance that you're covering, which is only going to be about, again, 4 hurdles. And then in between, you're cruising, where these are really fast, and this is more about developing the rhythm. Additionally, though, we want them to switch feet. So you've got to kind of change it up to force them to switch feet. So you may have to move a hurdle up or back to force that to happen. Again, hurdlers don't like that, but the reality is that your athlete has to see it, because in competition, those things are going to arrive. There might be a huge wind down the back straightaway that really messes up their rhythm, where it's blowing in their face or it's pushing them down the track. And so you know that even if your athlete's like, oh, I like a 13, 14, 15 step rhythm, 16 step rhythm between the hurdles, you and I both know that that means that at some point they're going to have to hurdle with the other leg. And hurdlers hurdle with both legs. Don't allow your hurdlers to just lead with one leg all the time. So in your drills and in your training that you do with your hurdlers, they need to lead and trail with both legs, so that way they learn how to do it no matter what the hurdle presents itself as you're moving forward. Now, a good quote down here is, sports do not build character, they reveal it. The tougher the kids you have, the things you've put them through, the more discipline you expect and demand in your program, that will come out in times of stress and difficulty, because this is our Henley Holmes week, one of our toughest competition meets of the year. Okay, we know that there are going to be challenges. Last year, one of our 4x2s got run down by the fastest girl in the United States. And our captain, who is our captain this year, a young lady by the name of Nikira, who's really fast, was running our anchor. And she was very upset and really broke down and freaked out because she didn't want to let her teammates down. But I had to pull her aside and say, listen, I know you feel like you've left your teammates down. It's my job to make sure that we're so fast that that young lady can't catch us no matter what. And I also pointed out to her that, hey, keep your calm, keep your cool, because I don't know if you realize this or not, but this is the very fastest we've ever run a 4x200-meter relay in our school's history this early, which means you guys have a great chance at breaking the school record in the state of Missouri. And we ended up running the fastest 4x2 in the state of Missouri that particular season. And we had a really, really good state championship performance as well. And we were nipped just a little bit by that young lady at the end of the year in the finals of the state championship, because my kids are pretty gassed and they finally put her back on anchor leg. But we ended up breaking the school record. We ran a nationally ranked 4x2, and we ran the fastest 4x2 of the year. And so, as coaches, when we're put under this stress and we have our athletes under the stress, we have to model calm, we have to model respect, and we have to hold our athletes accountable. But we also need to be clear in what is going on, because as veteran of an athlete as Nikira is for us and has run a lot of track, even in middle school, you still have to remind those veteran athletes, hey, pull back, don't have your blinders on, and realize what great things are happening in our program. You're in a really, really good situation. So these are things to think about moving forward. Again, this is a pretty tough workout, a tough day. It's great to give your athletes options. I would give them options as much as you can, as long as you're getting the work done. Also, as we move through, you want to make your drills more complex, but not so complex that your kids get blown out. And it's better to combine skills that they've already seen, built on previous work. And then most importantly, our warm-ups, you want your warm-ups to look like something that you're going to be doing in the competition. And if you like to prime activities before a speed power event, now it's time to use your plyometrics in front of your sprint workout. Distance runners, again, large volume workout of the season, one of the largest volume workouts of the year. And this is not something that I would do with anybody but state level kids. I would move down here and use the lesser volumes for your more and less talented kids until they prove to you that they can handle it. Again, with hurdlers, you want to mess with their rhythm and change things up. You want to do that because a hurdle race is never going to be exact. It's never going to be run under the exact step count, especially with youngsters. All right, guys, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, please let me know. I hope these workouts have been beneficial and helpful. To my Parkway Central female athletes, thank you for coming on here and listening to this and doing your best to get these things done all the time. We really appreciate you. Love you guys. Peace.